What's going on, all you sexy motherfuckers out there in internet land? Guess who's back, bitch?
He
are.
He didn't die, guys.
I didn't
He
die.
didn't die this time.
Not this time.
Yeah.
Surprisingly,
Not this time.
You know,
And
Almost.
you know what they say? What doesn't
under
kill
his
you
best attempt, you know,
makes
he
you
did not.
stronger.
Yep. Yep. So.
How many doorknobs did you get through this time?
Oh
by the
man,
way?
a lot, dude. I licked. Dude, Las Vegas has got a lot of doorknobs, and I licked a lot
All
of
the
them.
doorknobs, bro.
All
Every
the
one of them.
doorknobs.
Did you lick the
Even-
doorknob
even-
to the dome?
Yeah,
Even the
I licked,
doors
I,
that
I
he
licked
didn't.
the whole dome. You know how difficult
Even
that is to
even
do?
the doors that he didn't actually have to like touch to open, like the sliding glass ones, he still licked those motherfuckers,
Mhm.
bro.
Yeah, absolutely. Bro, you
100%.
can't go somewhere and understand someone's culture in a place without licking the
He's
doorknobs. I don't
he's like a dog, you know, except for instead of sniffing asses, he licks doorknobs. You know,
Well, I did that
Yeah.
too. I got all up in some.
Familiarity with your surroundings is important.
Yeah, of
That's
course,
true.
man. Yeah, dude.
That's true.
You know, how you gonna know somebody if you don't lick somebody's? Doorknob.
Wow. Whoa. Oh.
Anyway, episode 103, we are back, and obviously, you know, we're down a person, but we love dates. So does Scruffy. Scruffy is on a date. I hope you guys enjoy the picture that I went out and found. He's on a date. We don't
Nailed
know.
it.
We don't know if he's actually like physically on a date, like an actual fruit date. Like he could be like on a date, like or loving dates. Who knows? You know, you can interpret it however you want, but
Dates don't sit well in my stomach.
I don't like
I've tried.
dates, man. I don't know. Like, aren't they? Isn't that what's in Fig Newtons? Aren't they dates?
Nah.
No, they're figs.
Dates,
That would be figs.
yeah,
Those are figs. I was about to say.
yeah. Dates are plums, homie.
Yeah, I hate plums. I can't stand plums. I don't like ripe plums. I don't like gold plums. I do. Yeah. I don't like plums or dates. So, but yeah, episode 103. We got a lot to talk about. I'm happy to be back. You know,
Oh,
you
I
guys
was wrong. Dates aren't plums. They're just their own fucking fruit. Anyway, moving on.
There we go. All right. Well, if you are a plum lover, then you can flame us in the comments down below, which you can do on our YouTube channel, or you can go to anchor.fm/prepatch podcast and check out all of our other episodes. You should go to our YouTube page, check out all of our shorts, comment on how much you love plums and hate dates, or vice versa, on all the shorts that you see there and all the pre-patch notes and everything else, because we put out a lot of content. You should check us out on the Spotifys and the YouTubes. And hey, you know what? Now we're not breaking any rules because we're multi-streaming on Twitch and YouTube. We don't get yelled
Well, you
out for
kind of
that
just
one.
broke a rule by announcing that we were multi-streaming on YouTube.
Oh,
which
fuck.
doesn't like that. Shame.
Well, I was only talking to the YouTube people. The people on Twitch don't listen. Close
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah, don't just mute it. Mute it really quickly, Twitch, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, no, it's okay. The 51K
It's
bitrate that
it's
we're
o-
also streaming at is not
it's-
going to matter either. So
It's okay as well. We don't have the chats mingled. We don't have the chats intermingled, so you know YouTube and Twitch can't bicker with each other. You know, so
last time
fine.
I intermingled my chat, I ended up with a kid. So I don't like doing that. I like,
Well, you
Good
know,
Lord.
I like to leave them separate.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So obviously we're doing it live. And you should join us live.
obviously.
Obviously we're doing this live. You should be here live. If you're listening to us not
It's
live,
103 episodes. They should know by now.
yeah. Well, you know,
Oh,
I just
shit.
gotta make sure. You know, we gotta make sure.
You never, you
this
never
could
know.
be-
We
some people could be this is the first episode. You know,
you never know. We could be like the birds, the government birds with the fucking robots and shit. Yeah, that could
Yeah.
be us.
Now,
Never
you know,
know.
well, you know, Biden stopped the whole AI thing. Like they put a thing in place so that. So no, we're not going to get AI dates. It's not going to happen. What fruit or fembots? It's just not going to happen. You're
How's
not
that going to affect Amran's business?
I don't
model?
know. Well, she's making vagina beer, so that's different. Fucking, that's a
Oh,
whole other
God.
thing of gross. Let me
Why
tell
are
you
we
something.
like this?
I'll lick doorknobs all day long, but I'm not drinking anybody's vagina beer. That's just, that is a whole other level of nasty. So
Vagina beer.
yeah,
Great.
man. Hey, whatever.
That's-
I guess
why
there's a
didn't we name the podcast that?
vagina beer. Well, maybe we could change it in post. PP's love vagina beer, I guess. Yeah. So if you're
Hashtag educational.
exactly right, this is where you come to get all of your no nonsense. I don't know. Has anybody ever? I'd like actually. I'm gonna post this to chat. Please add us on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, or comment down below. Post live show Has anybody ever taken like an actual life advice from this show? Like walked out and been like, you know what? If I didn't listen to the Pre-Patch podcast, I would not have known that. And thank God for them, because if it wasn't for them, now I don't know. I would have walked downstairs backwards. So
The only life advice people need to take from the show is to start buying discs.
start buying discs. So yeah, there you go. People were banned on Twitter. I didn't even know. I thought that was the whole reason he bought, was to stop banning Twitter. All right, well, let's get into the news, guys. Speaking of Twitter and X's and platforms and all of those things, we're gonna head over here and talk about Twitch and some of the news that's happened there. So our I swear to God, Zach Busey is going to be
we should honestly just have him on the show, like on the side.
Segment.
Yeah.
I think I really do. I think that he should become just an honorary member of the Pre-Patch podcast. I'm going to continue to say it until he's on this show. Zach Busey, you should come and join us. We initiated an invitation out your way. We're sending the invite.
I love how Sin's like, hey, you should come in and be on our podcast. I don't know what the fuck your name is.
Hey, you know what? Doesn't matter. I'm gonna that, and when he gets here and Neverly is on the show, that's how I'm gonna address him every single time, Mr. Zach Busey. That's how I'm gonna address him. So it is what it is. So accept it. Anyway, our in-house, I can't say that, he's not in our house. Our much loved out of house reporter has broke the news again and shown that Twitch is actually introducing a path to reinstatement for users who were indefinitely suspended longer than 6 months. So, question that everybody should have is your famous streamer going to come back, which is iShowSpeed? No, it's Doc. Is Doc gonna? You think Doc's gonna come back? You think you're gonna let Doc come back?
Nah, bro. I like, we still don't know what the hell he got banned for, man. Like,
I don't think Doc would come back. Plus, if they're still in the middle of lawsuits, I'm pretty sure that trumps everything that goes on with this clean slate model. Like, he's actively suing them, so
yeah. Well, I don't know. It's literally the first comment, so I had to bring it up. I mean, like, oh, so disrespect, and
of course it is. Yeah.
And I love Zach Busey says no shot. No shot.
No shot
it's just
whatsoever.
Not gonna happen. So
he would. No.
I don't know. My thoughts on this is that I guess sure. Like, I don't know. I don't care. I mean, Twitch has been so like up in the air about their bans and things like that. Like opening this up to allow for people that have been banned for longer than 6 months to come back. Like, are we going to get Destiny unbanned? Does that mean that we're going to get that kind of stuff?
That's the big one. That's the one I do think might be relevant.
But the better question is do we want them back, right? Like, I don't know.
I mean, I don't want them back personally, but that's just me.
Yeah. I just that to me, this is where I'm like, are we opening Pandora's box by saying, hey,
100% we are.
You're allowing 100%. You're allowing people
for 9/10 of those people that are going to be reapplying, and granted, they say that like it's one of those things where like it's up to Twitch's, it's up to Twitch in the end whether they actually unban you or not. But this is just like a path towards a possible reinstatement, right?
Yeah.
But like it's
100%
opening the fucking Pandora's box for getting these people, these problem children, back on Twitch, and I don't know. Some of them I do agree that like they were banned unfairly, because Twitch, you can get banned from Twitch for nothing these days. We've joked about it multiple times. It's a D20 dice roll whether you get banned or not, these days. But
and that's where Bill, I know you were about to say something, so I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead. What you were about
it's just kind of similar to about a month or so ago we were talking about YouTube with the write a letter and say you're sorry thing to get a strike taken off your channel. This is basically the Twitch version of that, is how I feel with it.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it's like, why not? And like, I get it. Like, again, and I've been very happy with the changes that Dan's been making. I think Dan is a blessing to Twitch. That honestly, I don't think Twitch or Amazon will ever understand or fully comprehend like how much he is a PR blessing. But it's I think that why not spend the time on fixing the banning system versus saying, hey, these people that were banned 6 months ago, or longer or permanently banned, we're going to alleviate that, and make it easier for you to come back. Like, I think the proper way would be saying, hey, we fixed our banning system, and now we're going to allow these people that were permabanned to have a chance to come back if they were wrongfully banned. This seems counterintuitive, I guess, and backwards.
I think it's a somewhat of a step forward in the right direction. I can see like the good intentions behind it, right? They're like, well, we recognize that some of these permanent bans possibly may have not necessarily been situations that really should have been permanent bans. They should have been like a couple weeks at most, right? So at least Twitch is willing to take a look back at their decisions and be like, okay, yeah, we fucked up on that one, or no, that one was definitely required.
Why go through all of this though to do that? Like, in my opinion, you could easily just unban those people, like, and say,
you could,
like,
yeah.
unless their thought process here is like, hey, we don't want to go through the PR nightmare that is, why did they get unbanned and I didn't? When you can kind of set this program.
I mean, that's probably a good portion of it. Yeah.
You want to know what I think it is? Big tinfoil hat conspiracy here. Dan Clancy didn't get partnered on Twitch, so what he's gonna do is he's gonna do live ban appeals to boost his numbers.
Live on ban appeals
to get that Twitch partnership. That's the play.
It's a good option, man.
It's all a content scheme for Dan Clancy.
Yeah.
The guy's got it going on.
You mean Tom Clancy, right?
Yeah,
I don't know who the hell Dan Clancy is, bro. What are you talking about?
Siege, yeah.
I think it's hilarious the dude's not fucking partnered, man. That is absolutely which is also funny, which means that none of the TOS things, as far as like multi-streaming, none of that applies to him. He could literally multi-stream at whatever bit rate he wants, have chat integrated. I don't know.
He's an affiliate.
I don't know.
Maybe. An affiliate, yes.
I have no idea. I don't follow Dan Clancy's Twitter or Twitch account.
He is an affiliate, because you have to be an affiliate to put up for partnership. So
he actually has. I will say his streams are actually somewhat enjoyable. He's pretty dope. Just chilling back.
My biggest issue is that, like, it's just like we talked about it last week on last week's episode, right, where we were talking about how he sat down with Harris Heller and had that conversation, that interview with him on the Harris Heller stream, right? And like for the first like 15 to 20 minutes of that conversation with them, they were trying to figure out audio issues. Because apparently Dan Clancy doesn't know anything about audio issues or setting up audio, which is blows my mind for one. And then for two, like I don't know. It's one of those things where I think it just makes him more relatable, and I think that's why people like him, and that's why I personally like him. But like, he doesn't have like the typical, like, you would think, big CEO of Twitch, streamer on Twitch, everything like that. He doesn't have like that streamer setup or that CEO setup. He's literally just in some like fucking back room of his with a weird painting in the background, and it's dirty. There's shit all over the place. There's flies flying around him.
I mean, look,
I'm just like this does not look like the Twitch CEO, bro.
As someone that works in this industry and does this, like, I have preached this from the very beginning, is like, to understand this behemoth of an industry, you need to be in it, right? And it makes you a better person.
No, I agree.
I mean, Dan, look, come on our show. We'll be more than happy. I'll be more than happy to give you some pointers when it comes to setups and transitions and all this other kind of stuff. We will, trust me, we have had our fair share of audio issues. We'll know how to fix them. So
very true.
But anyway, it's just this is just a thing. Like I said, I guess good for Twitch. Let them do it. But I really do hope this is a forward step into them taking the banning system a little bit more serious, and why people are getting banned versus it being such a dice roll. And even when someone's like, oh, you're gonna get banned for 7 days, and they're banned for 2.5 hours, like it's just kind of all over the place. So on the other Twitch news, Zach, again, our out of house reporter, came out and showed that Twitch is soon going to be allowing moderators to kind of do the featured clip thing, which, again, I'm all for it, man. I think this is one of the things that I'm just kind of like, hey, any type of stuff that takes the responsibility off of the creator some in the moment to be able to make like a featured clip or a clip happens, because a lot of these things happen in a point where, yeah, like you can hit a button, you can clip, you can as a creator be like, oh, let me remember to go back and do that, but it's so hard to do. Whereas if a moderator is there and is like, oh, clip it, right, and then we're gonna make this a featured clip, like right there when it happens, I think that's a very helpful and beautiful thing. So
well, it's definitely a situation of like, I'm liking the fact that they're leaning more into this like short form content that they've got going on with like the featured clips, as well as like their I can't remember what they call it, their
stories.
Yeah, their stories, I think is what they call it. And their discovery their discovery, whatever it's called, the discovery feed or whatever. Yeah. So and I think this will definitely push more in towards that, where like on the fly you can have moderators that are putting out short form content onto that feed to be discovered while you're live, so that people can then come into your stream and see just a live stream straight from the start, right? So
yeah, I think
it's
that
be very interesting.
I will say that the story stuff is I don't know, whether I don't know if it's because people don't know how to aren't using it right now. It's literally just like hey, I'm going live, go check out my like I don't know if you guys have got him, but it's just like, hey, don't miss it, I'm going live right now. And it's like, well, I know your fucking notification went off, your Twitter notification went off, your fucking Twitch notification went off. Like, I think that there's
that's because you're following it's I'm assuming it's just to get people that aren't following potentially interested, but there's not really any. You're just going to be one in a million people that are going to be like, "Hey, I'm live."
Yeah,
it's
I
like
just
sending out a live tweet.
Yeah,
a live tweet that nobody sees. Yeah,
I don't think it's being utilized in its proper sense. Again, I think great step forward, but I would like for it to turn into a more short format where it's like, hey, this moment, like to me, like they could integrate these two with the featured clips. And it's like, as soon as something goes up as a featured clip, it automatically goes out to your story. Right. And now your story now it gets pushed out to all of that. And so then people can see it.
Does
and
it
then,
not already do that?
I don't
thought that
think
was
so.
What featured clips were.
Featured clips are its own thing. Like it's its own entity within side of Twitch. So you have like your clips, but then you have like featured clips that are like your broadcast highlights kind of. So this is like a featured clip that like you really love and like or whatever. And so it's kind of taking the place of like favorited clips in a way, essentially. And featured clips do go into like their short form discoverability side, but it's not like auto posting to your story. Right now, like you would have to upload it to your story, essentially. So
yeah, they need to enable like some kind of correlation between those two then, because like honestly, like if that's the case, I thought that it was automatically posting to your discovery feed and everything like that. No. And I was like, that's a good idea, but yeah, if it's not doing that, then there's really no fucking reason for this, honestly.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's kind of a little bit of a half-baked thing that I'm worried that is a really good idea, but they need to go further with it. Kind of thing. So we'll see. I mean, again, I think this is good. Again, giving moderators more power, more ability. They've really leaned into moderators here recently over the last couple of months, and I think that is a positive move. Moderators are just as important as streamers are in the creator themselves. So, always tip your moderators. Make sure you appreciate them.
Hey.
Moving on with more Twitch stuff. This actually is so funny because one of my viewers literally was watching on his Switch. And they are Twitch is going to be getting rid of the Nintendo Switch app here soon. Did they say when? I think January 31st.
It'll be going down on November 6th. I think they're removing the app on November 6th, and then you'll lose access to it on January 31st, completely 2024. So
this don't understand why. Couldn't tell you as to why they're doing it. I don't think that this is a good idea. Why not just have it on every platform you possibly can? I don't get it.
I wonder if the development for the Switch is just really weird because it's not the same as mobile, and I know the web app for Xbox and PlayStation is very similar to the live, like the online like web page app. So
It's just
I
it's
don't
so
know.
just
know.
weird.
It says in there that like the app had a ton of complaints for like people couldn't see chat. You had to use an external device like a phone or something to actually see chat. There's a bunch of people talking about the way that you typed messages on your own. You can't subscribe to creators if you want to support them from the app, everything like that. And that's not all the surprising, considering like did you guys remember I think it was the Apple app for Twitch had a lot of issues when they first released it with like even up till like recently had issues with like subscribing.
The mobile app was garbage.
So
well, I mean,
but they kind of put a lot of effort into it during
they did,
COVID times.
I still feel like at a certain point though, you like I get it. Yes, it is on Twitch to develop an app that is actually fully functional and usable. Completely I'm not going to argue that point. But I also am going to go, you're watching on a Switch. Like, I mean, just at a certain point, it's kind of like, you know, you may not get all of the fucking features that you may get from the app or from like, so I don't know. I don't agree with them ditching it. I don't
really agree with that though, to say that though, because like the Switch is still as powerful as most tablets out there right now. Like it's not like it's missing features from a basic bitch tablet, right? Like and you can do everything that you can do on PC pretty much.
No, I mean, I get it. But at the same time, like if someone picks up, like if I'm sitting there and I'm looking at like what options do I have to watch Twitch, right? So I don't have a computer. I have my phone. Why would you not go to that? Maybe you're a kid. Okay, fine.
Well, a bit bigger of a fucking screen, man.
Broski, this screen right here is not that much smaller than a fucking Switch screen. Like, well, it's
saying not everybody has $3,000 to get a foldable fucking phone.
This is a foldable phone. This is a regular damn phone. I don't, bro. I've worked in the phone industry. You tell me when last time a phone came out that had a small screen on it. Like, it doesn't exist. I'm just saying. Like, if you are making the conscious effort to watch on a Switch, you need to understand, hey, like it's not going to be the same experience. It's kind of like, hey, I'm going to start a fire. I could choose to use a lighter, which will absolutely work, or I can go bang two rocks together. Yeah, it's probably not going to be as fun or functional, but it may work.
I don't know. I think your take right here is a pretty bad one, consider all things considered. But that's just me.
You're a fucking robot. What do you know? Shut up.
I just think Twitch is lazy.
I just think Sid's
got something against the Switch, man. The Switch is the best console to release in the last several years, bar none. Okay, and I will fight you if you have anything else to say about that, sir.
When's your creator code come out?
Yeah,
2 weeks. It's I'm still in chat with Nintendo.
By that mentality, dingbat, and I am fighting for the Switch. I'm trying.
He's breaking out the fucking boomer.
I'm just saying, I'm fighting for you. I'm trying to keep the app on the Switch. You dumbass.
Strumpet or some shit.
God dang it, man! Just can't deal with this. Like,
holy fuck! Brigand! How dare you?
I mean, I'm just trying to help you out, man. So. Anyway, I don't know. Whatever. They're getting rid of it.
I don't know. It's a weird one. I don't really understand why. Like if you've put effort into it, at least make it functional, and then just don't really support it after that. But at least give people the option to have it if they want it.
I mean, for God's sake, you can't even voice chat on a Switch, bro. You got to hook up to a phone to do that. So are we really bitching about it? Like, really? Come on. Like, come on. I'm just saying. Like, I think these are all bullshit excuses. I think Twitch is just lazy.
Yeah, Twitch is late.
I just think
I agree with you on that one. Yeah, 100%. But
so this is stupid. Anyway, all right. Well, that does it for the news. We're gonna ditch the Twitch news and switch to the Kick news, which I don't even like talking about. So that was a good transition. I'm happy with my transition. All right.
I want it to be known, by the way. You say you don't like talking about it, but you're the whole reason we started.
I got it. But I'm also trying to be the reason we end it. Like, I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Fair enough. The redemption arc will be completed soon.
Anyway, so Nick Merckx went over to Kick last week. I believe during TwitchCon. he announced that he was moving to Kick. And now there has been a lot of like kind of comments that has been made, accusations, whatever you may be, around Nick per se, and what is in his contract and outside of his contract. You know, I will say, right, I myself have to like kind of step back from this because of, you know, this is a not necessarily a conflict of interest, but there is just a you know,
No, it's not. I wouldn't say it's a conflict of interest. He came out and said on his stream that he confirmed that he's going to be doing
no.
gambling.
I understand he's gonna be doing gambling. I'm saying that like what like, you know, I work for a company that is involved with Nick, right? Like so all I'm saying is that it's a at the end of the day, like I think it comes down to, because people like what's in, like, until we see the contract, what it is, because there are things that he said that were like also,
Well, so
you know, some people said it's not
thing-
true.
Yeah, so the thing that popped up, so he gets his Kick deal. He does his first Kick live stream and whatnot. Chad asks if he's going to be gambling. He's like, yeah, it's in the contract. XQC is like, he's being disingenuous. This is not like he's not giving you the full picture of things. I don't know why he's saying the things that he's saying. XQC does his XQC thing where you only understand like 10% of what he says, right?
Kick streaming.
You know what I'm saying, Chad? You know what I'm saying? So seeing through all the fog and stuff, he signed 2 contracts. One was with Kick itself, and then he did sign a stake contract. He asked for a stake contract to coincide with his Kick contract. The Kick contract does not have gambling. The stake one does. He also apparently has a out of the US location where he will be doing the gambling streams, because obviously state gambling is not allowed within the US. So that's basically it as far as this time goes. Why he asked for a state contract and a Kick contract, only Nick knows that right now, and well, stake. But it is a little bit weird that he painted it in a light that made it seem like the Kick contract itself was to include gambling, because that's been one of the biggest criticisms for the site. And being one of the newest representatives of the site, you would think they would want to distance themselves, especially if what XQC is saying with Kick trying to go the normie route, as he put it.
Well, Kick, one of Kick's I know it's not Eddie, it's somebody else that's very high up in their like leadership, responded and said this is not a Kick, like this is not part of the Kick contract. Like you know, I do think that Kick is kind of like, hey man, like if you're gonna say this, like at least get it right, like with what you're saying, because it is like it is, you know, disingenuous whether Nick meant for it to come out that way or not. Like, you know, it is that I mean that is the case. Like he said, you know, it's part of the Kick deal. It's not part of the Kick deal. It's part of stake or whatever else. But like, you know, we don't know the contracts, you know, because we don't see the contracts, right? We don't get to see them. So until we see those contracts, you know, or you know, there is 100%. I don't know. I just either way, it's just kind of like, I think we all knew, like anybody that's going over to Kick that is getting on a paid contract, I think we firmly believe like they're going to do gambling.
Yeah,
or it's incentivized at least.
And I am curious if Kick or Nick were the ones, because that's where the gray area is with this whole situation. We don't know who proposed to who with the stake deal, whether it was Kick like partnering the Kick deal with a stake deal, or if Nick Merckx in his back and forth with Kick opted into a stake deal to get them over onto the platform. I don't know. And we're not going to know until either stake or Nick share a contract.
Right. So that's it. I mean, outside of that, I mean, there were some other things that were said, which are along the lines of, they did cause some controversy, and it was in regards to his Twitch deal, right? Where he was like, you know, Twitch kept all of my subs, you know, and Twitch, you know, I got paid a minimum guarantee, and all of these kind of things. And it sparked a huge kind of like discussion with it, around being like, well, look, you chose to take that versus taking the, you could have taken a sub, deal, and you would have gotten paid your sub, your subs on top of your paid amount. I mean, myself and Enigma have said this before. I don't know whether it's on the show or just in general talking to one another, but I fully expect that even like the Kick first class stuff or whatever else, that eventually that will become a normal thing of saying, hey, if we're going to pay you a shit ton of money, like we are going to get recouped that by your subs.
We're getting all the subs.
Right.
Yeah. Read your damn contracts. He knew what that contract was going to entail when he signed it. It's not something he can blame Twitch for, because he was the one who signed the fucking paper. Like, to be pissy about that kind of stuff is a little bit odd to me when you knew exactly what you were getting yourself into.
Well, the thing that I don't like is the fact that it was like, I do agree with people saying that it like, this was not made known to the people that were throwing these subs, right? So people that were, normal behavior around subbing to a creator is that you sub because you want to support them, right? Like you like their content, you want to back them, like, like this industry, what we do in allowing for open subs, like it is like a thing of being like it's a generosity thing. Like, you're giving money, your hard-earned money over to somebody because it's entertainment, right? We have a loyal community member here that donates to us almost every single month, right? And their answer is like, hey, you're cheaper and better than TV. That's their reason for donating, right? But if it was I want to know how they would feel, or how you guys would feel. And again, post it in the comments below. We want to know, how would you feel as a viewer knowing that that money that you are donating or giving is not coming to us, that we are not, and we know it, but we are not saying it to you, right? Like, it feels very shady and disingenuous, personally.
For sure. It's an interesting, I don't know, man. I think it's just a bunch of I'm gonna go into the old timey shit. It's a bunch of hoopla, and I think it's just a bunch of fucking drama.
Yeah,
he's just trying to stir the pot at this point. In my opinion,
maybe Twitch, maybe it was in the contract that Twitch that you were not allowed to say it. Maybe that's part of the contract, and if that is, then that's bad on Twitch.
Possible, right? Read your contracts, though, people. Come on.
So yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no way that I would see taking a money guarantee versus, if I'm a larger creator like someone like Nick, over the sub revenue, because you can sit there and figure out like, hey, even if it's a 70-30 split, 70-30, going 30% you getting out of a $5 sub is still, we'll sit here, we'll do the math right now. What does that come out to? So $5 divided by 30, that's what? I should be good at this, and I'm not. What is 30%?
I don't do math, bro. I don't do math, bro.
0.30 times 5. So it's $1.50, right? If you're on the 70-30 split, which is Twitch takes 70%, right? Or do you get 70%? No, Twitch takes 70.
Twitch takes
50.
70, I believe. No.
Which one are they on? It's 70, right? Twitch takes 70.
It's 50-50 right now. Unless you're on the 70-30 split, and then you take 70 and Twitch takes 30.
On average, usually, let's just say that he gets 75 or 50,000 subs a month. You're still looking at $75,000, right? A month that you're kind of throwing away. I don't know. So like Bill said, read your contracts, and understand what you're signing, what you're doing.
Then don't be pissy about it. Unless they change the contract on you, you know full well what you're signing into. You can't be pissy about it.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have signed it in the beginning.
And I don't like the whole thing of where it's he goes on, and then this first thing that he says is, is talking about this, and it's just like, well, I get, Kick gives me 95.5, right? I get 95% of my subs and all this other kind of stuff. It's like, dude, you're like, you know what you're doing, like, and again, what does Kick do? They use it as, their own, way to just, that's their marketing, right? They don't talk about, like, what they're doing to better the industry. in whatever way that Kick made better the industry, they use the whole we're gonna meme on Twitch. So it just
that's what they're good at. That's what they're best at. Personally, that's what I think, at least.
So there you go. So that is the platform news. We don't have anything for YouTube. But we do have gameplay for YouTube, and Bill was playing some Resident Evil 4, or I guess not Bill, it was a witch doctor. I was playing some Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways, which is the Ada DLC for RE4. So talk to us. What is this? What are we seeing?
It's good is what it is. Resident Evil 4 Remake was already like an exceptional experience. This went above and beyond all of my expectations. From the original game, the Ada DLC, it was there. It was there in base form, but it was literally just like a little 2-hour like island segment chalked onto the end of the game. It was very much an additive thing. Didn't really change much gameplay wise. Ada played virtually the same to Leon in that version of the game. In this version of the game, completely different. It actually shows her tracing all the way through the main story, what she's doing, while Leon's getting his shit rocked. And it's a very enjoyable experience. One of my biggest criticisms with Resident Evil 4 Remake was some of the stuff that they cut from the base game. There's a gondola ride segment that they cut. There was an entire boss that they cut in the castle segment of the game. That all felt weird that it wasn't there. They put it into this DLC. They put those segments into the DLC, only expanded upon from what they were in base Resident Evil 4. So kudos to them for being able to do a DLC like this, make Ada feel very unique to Leon, and also kind of banking on that nostalgia factor by adding some set pieces that were missing from the base game that people wanted and were expecting. It's a lot of fun. She has a grappling hook also, and grappling hooks always elevate an experience like way up from
like she can grapple like onto buildings, like up onto roofs and stuff, or is it just like people?
So she can grapple up onto roofs and stuff. You can't just free grapple, unfortunately. That would have been the best case scenario. But there are like rooftops and stuff. You can use it for stealth segments. There's quite a few stealth segments with her because she's more tactical than what our smooth brain boy Leon is.
Secret agent.
Yeah. So there's a lot more stealth segments. You traverse the map a lot quicker with her than you do with Leon. And with some of the boss fights, there are quite a bit of grapple hook spots because you'll want to get up above enemies. But that was been the only thing that I would have wanted with this was free reign on grapple hook. It's pretty limited in the scope of this game, with the exception of you can use it to, if you stagger an enemy, you can use the grapple hook to close the gap on them, so you don't have to run up to do your roundhouse kicks or your knife maneuvers. You can just grapple straight to them.
So this is so you're not playing. This is all new content for the most part, right? Like there's nothing. This is not rehashed content with just you're playing as Ada.
No, it is a completely separate storyline. It's parallel to the base game's story, but is from Ada's perspective, and you are not doing the same things that you did with Leon as Ada. Like what we're walking up to right now is where Leon and Luis are fighting in the cabin segment, where they had the big horde that's attacking the cabin. You have to bar up the windows and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. This is Ada approaching that scene and what she is doing during that altercation.
Well, I'll ask this offline because I don't want to have any spoilers, but the only thing that when I'm watching you run, this is me. I'm not knocking the game for this, but where her hand is up right the entire time, which I guess it's raining.
It's raining. But her hand's only up during the raining segment.
Here's the thing that I don't understand is hand up, it's raining, but when the camera pans to in front of her face, there's no like squinting or like wincing. It's just like a very like kind of thing. Again, I'm just nitpicking.
That's a huge nitpick. You're right on that.
It's just weird to me.
It's kind of silly.
Like to see the choices that are necessarily made. Again, I'm not knocking it at all. I think it's funny.
Right.
And those types of things, so.
I'm still trying to figure out how Bill knows all this, because this is not Bill playing this game. I don't know who this guy is. Who the fuck is this person?
It was.
Where did we get this footage from? I mean, like, come on.
It was a post Halloween stream that got magically uploaded onto my channel. I don't know who did it, but thank you for filling in
free
Halloween
content, man. Yeah, free
I
content,
didn't
bro.
get Halloween content out, so they took it upon themselves to upload post Halloween content.
I need that person to upload on my channel more, man.
Right?
Do some streams for me, bro.
But no, the DLC is very good. It actually has several unique bosses to the game that were a lot of fun to fight. Like I said, one of them was a rehashed fight from original Resident Evil 4 that didn't make it into this game. They completely remade how that fight functioned, which was pretty cool. And then there's an alternate fight with some of the big bads that you fight as Leon, just in different forms. So,
and this is
definitely recommend it if you enjoyed Resident Evil 4 remake. This is a steal. Honestly, it's about 7 hours worth of content for $10.
Oh, that's good. That's cheap.
I was surprised. From what this gentleman here told me, he was expecting to get this done in one stream, and he did get it done in one stream. But he was expecting it to be a 3-hour affair that turned into 7. So
he was expecting it to be a 3-hour tour, and then it turned into Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what we're trying?
That is exactly what they're saying. This is showing some of the grappling hook stuff that you can do with it. Like I said, fairly limited. There's specific grapple points, but it is kind of cool to have that maneuverability and verticality.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Because that's not something that you have with the first one. That's not something you have with Leon, right? Like it's pretty much you're on the ground, and that's
Leon's
what you fucking
boots
get.
On the ground, run them through kind of guy. She's let's jump up over top of them and get the high ground.
That's pretty dope. Yeah. Kind of gives a kind of, and it's different fight, or it's kind of the more of the same, but like also different fights. So it kind of gives you a kind of a different vantage point too. So
yeah, that would be the only thing I could criticize this DLC for, is outside of the bosses, they really did not.
It's pretty much all the same.
They did. I don't think. Thinking back to it, there is not a single like new enemy type outside of bosses, which is kind of disappointing.
That kind of sucks. But I mean, for $10, like, what do you expect, right?
Yeah, for $10, and like I said, the content that you do get for it is a lot of fun to play through. And I mean, it's a Resident Evil game. They've never been big on enemy variety to begin with.
For sure.
I would have liked to have seen 1 or 2 like new enemy types outside of boss fights.
Would have been nice. Yeah, it would have been nice to have like some form of like stealthy enemy or stealthy enemy that she has to deal with, just because she's more of a stealthier type and she's kind of in the background. Would have been kind of cool. But yeah, that would have been cool. I'm still waiting. Speaking of stealthy, this is a complete tangent. I'm very excited to see how they do the sniper battle in Metal Gear's Solid 3, because that's one of my favorite boss fights of all time. Speaking of like stealthy on stealthy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But so question, because as I'm watching you play this, like, does this feel, because Resident Evil always had like a feel of like, okay, cool, like there's also like a scarcity, like one of the things that makes the game more like high thrill, kind of elevates it, the horror aspect, is also to like resource kind of thing. It looks like this is like a lot more like run and gun shooting kind of. I'm not necessarily as worried about my ammo, because like I see that this has got like 60.
Up until this fight, I had way too much ammo. This fight drained my resources, and I did not get them back for the entire rest of the run. I was constantly crafting ammo to make sure that I was like fighting stuff. Like
I was watching. Things. Yeah, I was watching the end of this.
Attack on Titan shit here, which is kind of neat, even though it's a cutscene. I
was watching the end of this entire thing, and I was laughing because this person, again, I don't know why you're referring to yourself that you didn't do this. This is completely different.
Exactly.
Was complaining about the fact that like they don't have enough ammo for this like final boss fight. I was like, well, yeah, he's fucked.
Yeah, the final boss literally took me down to like 20 pistol rounds.
Again, why are you talking like it was you, Bill? Stop.
I said this person.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
But no, very, very much worth it. And $10 is honestly a steal for this kind of content. Like, I go off of a time frame for most things. Plus, I'm a big fan of this, so I was going to buy it anyway. But 7 hours for $10, that's That's
pretty good,
pretty
man.
good considering a lot of like modern AAA campaigns are like 10 hours.
I usually do about it.
Rate.
I usually do about $1 an hour, but right, that's a rough estimate. Like if it's a decent game and there's a decent amount of like quality content inside of it, if it's 7 hours, but it's like good quality content, then I'm okay with it. So
yeah, this is good quality content.
PC as well, so it's PS5 and PC.
Yep, PS5 and PC, and also it adds Albert Wesker and Ada into the Mercenaries arcade mode if that's something that you enjoy.
So the most real question though is how was it playing the video game in that fucking mask?
It honestly wasn't that bad. It was definitely a handicap though. I had to turn my monitor's brightness up like double to be able to see anything. And it did give me a little bit of a headache just from the pressure, but wasn't as bad as I was expecting. I was surprised at how non-annoying it actually was.
Nice.
It was a good Halloween stream. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Did you make that mask or did you buy it?
Nah, that's a Spirit Halloween.
Yeah.
They actually got some good stuff this year. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Well, moving on to what I have played, and no, I do not have 700 games to show off. I have one.
He has 5. You know,
I have one. I have one.
You were saying
game.
at the beginning of the week that you had 3.
Well, because I was hoping that we were gonna have Warcraft Rumble. I was hoping that was gonna drop before it did, and it didn't. So I did get it. I do have access to it. I have been playing some of it, but I don't have footage of it, and I don't have enough time in it to talk about. So we'll talk about that next week. Okay. I've also played Diablo, the new season, but that's been out for a while. We've talked about Diablo quite a bit. I really am loving and enjoying the season. It does add quite a bit of replayability and things like that to the content. But again, it's Diablo.
I'll take your word for it. I haven't put any time into it.
I haven't played it. Yeah, I haven't played it yet.
I will say, like, there's not a class that feels underpowered. This is actually the first time that I've actually been like, cool, I want to actively, like, I've leveled my druid. Now I want to level a necro. Now I want to level, like, I've actually wanted to level other classes to feel them and kind of get an understanding of them. So again, Diablo has been done. I also played a little bit of League because of the worlds. So I haven't shown, I'm not showing that.
I'm excited for preseason to start up for us to get back into that.
Yep. And then also obviously Siege has still been a thing that I'm playing and enjoying.
Hell yeah.
Still there. So, but that's not what's on screen right now. What's on screen right now is Ark Survival Ascended. I was gifted this game, so before I get yelled at about buying,
you're still gonna get yelled at
buying it. I was gifted the game.
I mean, to be fair, if you enjoyed the base game, I wouldn't have yelled at you for getting Ascended because.
So to be honest, I own all of the other versions and never really played them. So like I can't firmly say that like I fell in love with them. A lot of the, like, I had jank issues that were beyond like more than what I'm having with this game. Like I just things that I did not enjoy, like, it was just, I don't know, with the original version. Not saying that there's not jank here. This is far from being a perfect game. And far from being like a I would say worth
early access.
Worth $40.
Well, it's an early access.
But I don't think that that's fair to say, because this is also like it's early access, yes, in the sense of this version, but like let's break down what Ark Ascended is, Survival Ascended, for people who don't understand, because we have talked about it on the show before in the past, in some of our past episodes. Recommend going and watching those and listening to some of them. But if you're new to it and don't understand, this is a $40 purchase of basically a game that came out umpteen amount of years ago, right? I don't know the exact, I don't know when original Ark. If one of you guys wants to fact check that,
it was like 2013, 2014, somewhere around there.
So it's an older game.
Maybe later than that, actually. 2017. I'm sorry.
There ain't no way it's 10 years. So it's an older game. It's a 7-year, 8-year-old game. This is the UE5 version of it, right? So it is a prettier version. They have given you more some quality of life elements that are better. With being able to like put you, I've heard like putting your like torch like on your belt, some of like the tracking things, stuff like that do make it more functional. You will get all of the other Arc expansions with this. So this is the base version Arc. You will also get all of the expansions that they came out with for the old versions for $40. And then they're going to be launching 2 new expansions. Those 2 expansions you will have to pay for. And then they'll launch Arc 2. So that's what you get with Survival Ascended. Now, this game has its fair share of still jank. Enigma and I sat here and tried to figure out for probably 5 minutes why this trike that I had just tamed, because again, I've never played these games, so I don't know what I'm doing, and Enigma has got a lot of hours in it. As to why it wasn't picking up berries. It was supposed to pick up berries and whatever else, wasn't doing it. Wasn't showing it, wasn't doing it. Hopped off, went back in, went into a radial menu, hopped off again, and then all of a sudden, like 15 minutes later, 1,000 berries pop into my inventory out of nowhere. Like shit's just working. And then I also get stuck in one of my tames and I can't get out of it. Like there is definitely jank. Enigma, I want to give you time to talk about it because you have played Arc and you have, obviously you're not playing this, but you watched me play. Like you made a comment saying that like there are definitely some UI and like quality of life improvements that you see. Like
I mean there's definitely certain things that I'm like, okay, I can see that's kind of a cool like little quality of life improvement, but like nothing that I've seen so far couldn't have been done in Arc.
Right.
Survival Evolved. Like there's nothing that I've seen so far. Like the entire fucking upgrade to Unreal Engine 5 could have just been a fucking an update to Arc Survival Evolved, and they were too greedy. They wanted money for learning to develop on Arc or on Unreal Engine 5 essentially, and that's what it boils down to. Is they were too lazy or they were too greedy to put the work into Arc Survival Evolved and update it to Unreal Engine 5, in my opinion, at least, right?
I mean, do you think that it's...
I don't know how much an upgrade, like an engine swap like that would have, because I don't know what the differences are on a building perspective from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5.
I'm not sure either, but either way you look at it, like I don't think that it's worth $40 to essentially have the exact same game with a update on an engine.
I get what you're saying, but I'm also the dumb motherfucker that bought Demon Souls for the PS5, and
that's your own problem. But
yeah.
Well,
and it was $60, so
when I'm looking at this, so when I'm looking at everything that you're playing, and granted you're not anywhere near like end game, so we can't speak on end game, right? This is like bare bones early game. You've just barely gotten to like the middle age essentially, right? And you've just barely gotten your first tame. But from everything that I've seen so far, nothing has really impressed me to the point where I'm like, I definitely need to play this game. Right.
So
that's my opinion. And when it comes down to like, oh well, it looks prettier. In my opinion, it really doesn't. Like in my opinion, the update on the graphics, like some of the graphics do look nicer. And it could have just been that I had a fucking migraine last night, and so I couldn't appreciate like the sun shafts and everything like that. But like to me, things look really like fake. Everything looks like it's made out of plastic to me. Like all the vegetation looks like it's plastic. All the wood looks like it's plastic. The stone looks like it's plastic. I don't know if that's something to do with like they haven't put shaders on it or they haven't put proper textures on it yet, and it's still in development, But like in comparison to the two, in my opinion, I personally feel Arc Survival Evolved looks better than Arc Survival Ascended. But that just might be because I don't personally like the way that they like cell shading of some sort. Like I'm not a big fan of the way that it looks like in this game personally. But
like I have seen many people play Arc Survival Evolved, and coming to this, like I would say I would rather play this version because I do think that this version, like when I booted it up and launched it, and again, going back to what I've seen from the old Arc, I do look at it and go, this game looks fucking I think it looks great. Like I think it's gorgeous. Like I don't again, is it like fucking god tier whatever? No, but when I look at it, I go, well, it's pretty, man. Like I think the world like does look pretty. Like what I'm watching here a building, like I think it looks really good. You know, I think like the sun shafts are good. There are issues. I'm not going to sit here and say like there's not performance issues. Like keep in mind,
that was one thing that I wanted to bring up as well. Like from everything that I've heard, and I know that you were just about to say something about it with your rig specifically should be able to handle this thing without a fucking problem, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I should be able to go at max, and I can't.
And
I can't.
And granted, that's Ark. That's just Ark in general. Like I've never been really impressed with Wildcard's like optimization of any of their games, because Ark Survival Evolved, even to this day, doesn't run very well. Like it's extremely jittery. It's extremely fucking laggy in some instances. It's just not. I don't know if it's again. I don't know if it's just laziness on the developer's part, or if it's just like an inability to work with the engine to a point that gets it to the point that it can run smoothly. But it definitely, you need a pretty beefy PC to run just Ark Survival Evolved in general. So I would assume that you need a even more beefy PC to run Ark Survival Ascended.
Yeah,
right?
No, you do. Like it is not gonna, like, people are like, can I run this on a Steam Deck? Absolutely fucking not. Like there is no shot.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed that the Steam Deck can run Ark Survival Evolved in general. Like that is impressive to me to begin with. So
but I will say, like, as someone to go back to like kind of warranting the $40 purchase, so a lot of it comes down to, is this a situation where, because Ark Survival Evolved has been out for so long, that really going to UE5, it's impossible, because it just, I think maybe that's what also Bill is talking about too, is like, I don't know if you can just dump UE5 on top of all of what's already kind of been built, because it would break. Right. And we don't know, because we're not coders. I have no clue. And maybe that's the reason for them saying like, hey, we have to go to this, right? You know, to do it. Yes. Are we paying for them to understand UE5?
Absolutely. That's what I was about to say. That's all fine and dandy. I completely agree with you on that part, where it's like, yeah, maybe UE4 to UE5, and I have heard that UE4 and like upgrading any Unreal Engine to another engine is a lesson in futility, right? It does not work out to the best, you know, for most of the Unreal Engine upgrades out there, right? But like I still don't feel like I should have to be paying an additional price so that you can practice
they
how
absolutely
to
could
develop.
have. Yeah, they could have gone down the route of saying, hey, you know what, $10, we're going to charge $10, and you're going to get, you know,
like to basically put it toward, you know, to basically put the price tag on it for the same price tag, if not a little bit higher than what Ark originally came out as, right? That feels really bad to me, right? And on top of that, to be and I'm gonna kind of push forward into this a little bit with the server situations, right? So when we've talked about this before, when they first announced that they were moving from Ark Survival Evolved to Ark Survival Ascended, they announced that they would be shutting down official servers on Ark Survival Evolved and moving official servers to Ark Survival Ascended, right? And a lot of people were pissed off about that, which surprised me kind of, because like what's it called? Official servers. There's a good population, a good subsect of the population that does play on official servers, but like predominantly the players of Ark play on private servers, right? They play on like modded private servers for the most part. That is your player base for Ark. It's either vanilla private servers being played with friends that are being hosted on PCs, or it's modded private servers being hosted by a multitude of server providers, correct? Now, one thing that came out recently, and like just barely, like within the last couple of days, I didn't even know about this until it happened, was like, so Ark, when in Wildcard's Infinite Wisdom, when they moved over to Ark Survival Ascended, they made a deal with Nitrado, which I don't know if you guys know about Nitrado, and I'm probably butchering that name, but that's a survival game or just in general a multiplayer server host. Correct?
Yeah, they do like Minecraft servers and stuff.
They do Minecraft. They do 7 Days to Die. They do Ark. They do a lot of like survival games in general. The wild card in their infinite wisdom partnered with Nitrado, which already has a really bad reputation for being kind of a shit server provider to begin with. Like everybody knows, Nitrado is not that great. They partnered with Nitrado and gave them an exclusivity deal so that Nitrado is the only server host. I believe they're hosting their official servers, and B, they're the only server host that you can go to, as far as I know. I don't think they've updated this yet, for a private server in Ark Survival Ascended, which is insane, right? Because like Ark Survival Evolved has countless server providers that you can go to that provide you with different variables of like online servers for different prices, right? And Nitrado is actually usually one of the higher priced servers out there. So it kind of slaps that private server, essentially the player base that has been keeping Ark Survival Evolved going for so many years, for 7 or 8 years, I think is what we had talked about it, right? Before 2017 to now, right? The private servers have been what's really been keeping Ark going for that entire time. It hasn't been the official servers. I can tell you that for a goddamn fact, right? It's been the private servers and the mod hostings that have kept this game going. And they're basically slapping those people in the face right now and telling them, well, you can still have a private server, but you're going to have to go through our official, server host. On top of that, Nitrado has issues with mods apparently, and they've had issues with the new backend for the server providing server files and everything like that they actually had to go back and like retroactively like roll back their servers because of how shitty Nitrado has been with their server hostings. So it's been a rough start for Ark Survival Ascended.
Yeah, well, I know that. I mean, I can say I've gone and seen unofficial servers, and there are a shit ton of them, so they're definitely making money.
Yeah,
like
they're making money 100%. But again, that's because that's what's kept this game going, is the private servers. It's not the official servers; it's the private server hosting that's kept this game going. And they basically just cut. They basically told people, well, if you don't want a private server, you go through what we want you to. You go through the server host.
I can tell you some of the server stuff that I had to go through has been very frustrating. In fact, on this stream alone, the server. Like, you go to search for a server, and normally you'd be like, cool, I want NA only. There's no filter options. Like, I can't filter NA only. I can filter a few things,
you can't do that on Evolved.
I will go search for like lowest ping, but it's a lie because I'll do that, and then it's not the lowest ping, because then if I go and search for days on, that gives me the lowest ping. It's fucking weird. And then like I had where my server like restarted randomly and booted everybody out, and then we come back in, which is fine. Server resets happen constantly. That's a normal thing. But
you were playing on an official server, not a private server.
I'm on an official server. So then my server just doesn't show up anymore. And also I favorited it, but it's not in my favorites. So like I had to go back into my VOD, my live VOD that I was watching, to go figure out what was the server name that I was on so that I could search that name, and then my server popped up. And so it's, that kind of stuff is like, dude, come on. Like, what is going on? Like that shit to me is where I'm like, if you're going to charge early access, like, I don't believe that kind of stuff is early access. Like, that shit should work. This is not, again, early access. How to run servers. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I don't know, man. That's all I can say really at this point. Is just like I don't know. I don't understand. Like, I get that what people are saying, that it's like if you enjoyed Ark, you'll enjoy Ark Survival Ascended. But I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, yeah, because it's the same fucking game. You're literally there's nothing. You're paying $40 for the same fucking game that looks prettier. That's why you're having a good time with it.
For some people, that's enough, though.
I mean, I'm not saying that's not enough for some people. I just don't understand. Like, for me, that's not enough. That's my only thing, right?
And that's fair too.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I think if you're
it's
if
just
this is
weird,
your
man.
if it's your first, like, because people have come in and said, hey, is this worth?
100%?
If you've
Like
never
if this
played,
is, like for you specifically, Sin, because you've never played Ark Survival Evolved and you don't have any hours in Ark Survival Evolved, I can 100% see this. Like, yeah, go to the newer version, right? Like go to the newer version, go and get the prettier version, quote unquote prettier. And again, in my opinion, I don't think it looks as good, but that's probably just me and the nostalgia of Ark Survival Evolved. But if you are brand new to this, then yeah, 100%, $40 for all of the baseline, like the base game plus all of the baseline DLCs, right? And do you have any idea of what the DLCs, like which DLCs you actually get?
you get all of them. You get all of the all of them through. It's like Scorch.
Again, I need to know. Yeah, I need to know exactly which one, because like they might not actually be giving you all of them. I'm curious if they actually do give you.
The last I heard, I thought you were supposed to get all of them. It's like
okay,
8,
I've got them right here. So, in addition to the island, we plan to have the following content available: remade in Unreal Engine 5, Survival of the Fittest, which is their stupid fucking battle royale, which nobody fucking plays. Scorched Earth, Aberration, Extinction, Genesis Part 1 and Part. Okay, so yes, it's all of the DLCs. They also plan to have previously released free DLCs: The Center, Ragnarok, Vallegro, Crystal Island, Lost Island, and Fjord. Each of those respective maps will receive one completely new creature nominated by the community. Okay, so if you've never played the game and you don't have Ark Survival Evolved and you don't have all of those DLCs and everything like that, this might be a good purchase. 100%. $40 for base game, 5 DLCs and 5 maps is huge, considering I think going and buying all of that for Ark Survival Evolved.
This also has cross-platform, which I guess wasn't available before.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think that it was in the works, but they ran into like a snafu on it.
And then there's also
I can't see how much the other DLCs were, but I would wager that probably to buy to buy the base game plus all of the DLCs, you'd probably be looking at like $100, $115, $120.
There's also they added the Dreadnoughtus, which is a new, I guess, one new dinosaur. I have seen that one. I have witnessed it. So I don't know. I mean, I get why people are upset. I do understand it, but I'm having fun with it. I am, again, there are things that's
completely fine. Yeah.
There are things that piss me off where I'm like watching this back and I'm like, oh, I'm seeing screen tearing because they don't have a VSync option. Like there's just stuff that I'm just like, this should be in there. That's just not, like, that kind of shit's annoying.
I get it. And if you are the type of person that's like, I need the new shiny, then I'm sure this is probably the best option for you. But like, to me, I'm of the mind, and I've been of the mind for even for those remakes, like the fucking remake that you were just talking about, Bill. Like, I don't really feel like you should have to pay full price for those remakes. Like that seems asinine.
I mean, I did it for Dead Space. Like there's not a, because again, I think you like people like new and shiny
for putting money into what they like. If that's how they want to spend their money, that's
fine.
Yeah.
My biggest complaint is just that you're legitimately paying $40 for a less superior version that looks prettier. Like that's I don't think that they should have personally charged for that, but it's wild card, and I am not surprised one little bit.
Yep. So, all right. Well, that wraps up what we've been playing. I should have done mine first, Bill second, because the news literally goes right into Capcom, says that unofficial mods are no different from cheating. What Bill? What is going on here?
So the director for the R&D division of Capcom was interviewed about engine support and mod support and stuff like that, and he's not a fan. He does not like unofficial mods being used on any of the Capcom products. I have a feeling that this is mainly targeted because of the naughtier mods that people will do for like Resident Evil games and stuff like that.
Why would he consider that cheating? That's weird.
Well, the cheating thing was weird, but he also said that it negatively affects the public image of Capcom and their games.
What? That's stupid.
I don't know if he feels like people can't tell a modded version of the game from a non-modded version of the
Oh,
game.
you meant Leon actually didn't fight Shrek in fucking in Resident Evil 4? That's weird.
Yeah,
I thought
and
that was
Leon
real.
also doesn't have a assless maid outfit that he can unlock in the game, and there's not Big Booba Ashley or anything like that.
Oh
So
my God.
I think that's specifically what he was getting at. But the cheating thing was weird, considering these, for one, these are single player games, and for two, most of the mods that people download for these games are cosmetic mods.
Cosmetic
anyway.
only, yeah.
They're not mods that are gonna like.
It's not like a trainer.
No, it's not a trainer. It's not anything that is the biggest thing that I could see. There are mods out there, at least for the PC versions of Resident Evil, that unlock all of the unlockables for you. Which is,
I mean, I understand it.
Your
There's
infinite ammos.
There's save game files that you can do, but like you're not going to save yourself against that. Once it's in the player's hands, they can do whatever the hell they want with it. You know, they can load their save file if they want to.
It's a fucking single player game.
Yeah,
like
that's what I don't understand. Cares? It's like, who are you cheating? Who are you cheating? You're cheating yourself out of an experience. Like, if you want to do that, more power to you. I don't understand.
I do remember the back in the day, the cheating yourself argument. That was a big one that went around the Souls community.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're cheating yourself out of an experience.
Yeah.
Like, but shut the fuck up.
It's a single player game. It's honestly, they're bringing more people to their game, and their game is getting more publicity from these mods. Like,
they're also extending the longevity of that game.
Thing that I'm sure plenty of people have enjoyed with the Chainsaw people looking like Shrek. Yeah. Like,
well, and again, you're also extending the longevity of your game with mods like that. We've documented that. That's well documented in many games over the years.
Well,
like,
for fuck's sake, look at Grand Theft Auto. Holy shit.
Yeah. If you have a thriving mod community, that game can go for years and years and years.
I mean, literally one of the, if you go on a YouTube live right now, Garen fucking you that one of the top 5 games is beam.ng or whatever the fuck it is. And it literally is a racing game that has got nothing but like mods, and that's all it is. Yeah. And it's wild to go in there and see some of that shit. But yeah, I don't understand. This is stupid. This is just
And I also find it funny that it is Capcom that is talking about this, because as we're seeing in chat, this is the company that puts pay to win DLC into their single player games. Like Resident Evil 4 came out of the gate with a pay-to-win treasure mod that injects twice the amount of treasure so you can get your upgrades faster in the single-player version of the game. I don't know where they get off saying that unofficial mods are cheating, unless it's somehow screwing them out of money in one way or another.
It's the same thing with like Bethesda and them wanting you to go through what is their mod program? I always forget. Their little mod program that they charge you for mods. I can't remember what it was called, but yeah, that's been their issue before. Is like, well, we don't have, we have this huge source of income that we could be tapping into that we're not, because people are just going to go out and download the mods from someplace else. We should be tapping into this,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, when you have games,
Capcom.
When you have games like Starfield, everything else, it's just wild that you're gonna, you're gonna say that this is not allowed. So,
yeah.
Well, another company that's kind of just not doing well in the eyes of their fans is good old Bungie. So Bungie
got a lot of information on Bungie this week.
Actually, Sony's Bungie, I guess, if we want to if we want to go after this target. But Sony's Bungie, which I think it's, I don't know. To me, that, like, I'm just to say, I think that's clickbaity. I don't like it. Like, you don't have to say Sony's, but I get Sony owns it or whatever else, but we don't say like Microsoft's Bethesda. We don't say Microsoft's 343. Like, get off of it. Like, Bungie.
I've seen people say Xbox is Bethesda.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I still think it's bullshit.
And considering everything else that's going on in Sony and PlayStation right now, it is fair to say that this is probably lumped into all of that.
I mean, I have no doubt that Sony had a fucking hand in this.
Yeah, so Sony's Bungie, not clickbait.
I don't know.
They deserve what's getting to them.
Still pretty clickbait, but yeah.
What fucking parallel universe are we in right now where I'm defending I'm defending Sony and Bill is like, no, you don't.
Bill, are you actually that dude in that mask still?
Are you okay?
Are you a doppelganger?
Yeah.
Are you a doppelganger from a universe where Bill's an Xbox shill instead?
Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're unfamiliar with what's going on, yes, Sony bought Bungie earlier on in the year. And
it's been multiple years.
Been a while.
Oh, is it multiple years? Okay, multiple years. My bad. So
it's definitely Sony's Bungie.
They at the time came out was like, hey, like, you know, we're doubling down, like, you know, they've got the Final Shape DLC coming out. We're like, no layoffs. We're you know, we're committed to this and blah, blah, blah. And then they get, you know, right on like the tail of the Final Shape supposed to be like right around the corner. All of a sudden 8% cut. And you know, they're 45% below, you know, projections for the year. Now, here's what I'll say, right? Corporate America, privately owned or publicly owned company, any of that kind of stuff, right? 45% below, 9 times out of 10 will always lead to some type of cuts. Like it just, you cannot continue to just hemorrhage money.
I'm honestly surprised it was such a small amount of people that they cut. Honestly, with 45%, that's huge.
Yeah, that is a very large amount, but it's also 45% below projections. So what is that?
True.
You know, projections aren't necessarily meaning that they are down 45% of, you know, year over year.
But when you're talking about a fairly new acquisition, like they're looking at it as like, well, when we talked to you guys and when we obtained you guys, your projections were X amount and you're 45% under what you projected. Like that's not a good look.
Right. No, absolutely. But it's, I'm just saying, the reason I want to make it very clear about projections is because there are people like, and the whole industry went through this, and why we saw a shit ton of layoffs is because what I call cubicle people are people that look at spreadsheets all day long in a cubicle, never look up to see what's going on around the world. And so when 2020 happened, everything spiked. Why? Well, we're all locked up. 2021, kind of the same thing. Yeah. 2022 happened, and they were like, oh, we're going to continue. So they projected fucking astronomically high. And guess what happened? True. The whole world went back to work and went back out and everything tanked. So this also could very much be a fault of Sony and or Bungie's, you know, cubicle people or whatever you want to call them, that projected poorly and whatever. But either way, it doesn't change the fact that 8% of their workload of their staff were cut and gone. And, you know, with Final Shape being supposed to be around the corner, that got delayed. You know, all of this
apparently
is kind
Marathon
of like
also got delayed because
Marathon
of these layoffs.
Marathon also got delayed. All of these things are just kind of like, you know, a little. It's I don't want to doom, like, you know, doom and gloom, but it's hard not to sit here and go, uh-oh. Like, you know,
I don't know. I don't think Destiny is in danger personally, because like that's Sony's huge acquisition, right? So I don't think they're necessarily like on the cutting board. I don't think they're on the chopping block, but
I think Destiny 2 is about to be over, though. I like
it is. The lifespan for Destiny 2 is definitely.
Yeah, even if this wasn't like a thing, I'm pretty sure that Bungie's just reaching the end of the effort that they're wanting to put in. They're either going to do a Destiny 3 or move on.
I personally think that Destiny reached an end of what they could do with it about 3 expansions ago, but that's just me.
Well, the thing
I'm hopeful that this is all kind of part of the restructuring that seems to be going on at Sony right now. It appears that they're moving more so away from that game as a service model and that live service model that Jim Ryan was instating.
Well, we talked about it last week. We talked about it last week. Like Jim Ryan was removed, and then we had that was it the CEO or an exec? It was an exec.
It was an exec. Yeah.
That got removed for focusing too much on it, I guess.
She got which is weird. She honestly didn't deserve to be let go and blamed the way that she did, but it was all linked to that live service model that Sony's been trying to force.
The thing is that's crazy though is that you have to remember, like, they purchased Bungie, yes, for Destiny, but I don't think it was. I think it was because of them, like, saying, "Hey, live service, like it's all like you're the only company that we believe is truly good at doing live service, like live service, everything live service, live service, live service."
Yeah.
So like it's
Bungie was the expert that they brought in to lead this new era of Sony.
Right. So it's just like with them doing this shift, you obviously had your layoffs higher up. You also just cut 8% of like the live service. So obviously they're making a hard transition out of live service. Or I don't want to say out. They're making a hard transition away from sole live service and being a huge focus. But also too, like this cut also negatively affects, like, how does it affect Horizon Forbidden West MMO, like, or Horizon MMO that was supposed to be out? How does this affect? Obviously, this affected the Last of Us, right? Like that, that's gone, right? What about the, you know, we still have yet to see and have heard from fucking the Suicide Squad. That's not a Sony joint, but it Sony was behind like a lot of it, and it raises questions in my thing of being like, well, is that getting like pushed and can, like, you know, canned, like, what, you know? So it's just, what does it mean for the greater Sony kind of playbook and all of these games that were live service? As someone that loves live service games, you know, I want them better, you know, and I'm happy that we are gonna get a refocus, but
I think Sony just needs to go back to doing what they are good at, and that's
single player epic
experiences.
Yeah. The single player epic story experience. Single player epic story experiences. Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to branch out, and I understand that live service game models are fucking money factories if they take off.
True. Yeah.
You can't throw a bunch of shit at a wall and
no, like, but I think that what Sony I see this as a step in the right direction, but I think that the way that Sony's going about it, they are leaping too far. Because I think, and this is Sin putting on my, you know, you had your tinfoil hat. Let me put my tinfoil hat on real quick. This is my theory that they see Microsoft acquiring these live service, all of this stuff, right? And going, oh shit, right? So we go down live service because live service prints money. And then they're like, oh, fuck, live service isn't working. We're going to fucking shift hard direction and go back to what we know, right? But the problem is that going back to what you know, we have a company that does that, right? Nintendo does that. Nintendo is known for their single player first party games, and that's what does well. But Nintendo, to the majority of most people, when you're sitting here saying, like, when you talk about the big video game companies, I would wager my entire reputation that the first thing that comes out of most people's mouths is Xbox and Sony. And my fear is that if they go hard into this and they don't capitalize on live service in the way that it should be, that they are going to miss a boat. Like, they are going to miss out. And this is going to be a detriment to them, because by the time that they want to shift back into live service, Microsoft is going to have dominated that space and taken it completely away from them, where they have no realm to really play in, right? Like, we know that Sony is very much like, I'm gonna stamp my flag and plant it, and I'll die on this sword. And it seems like they don't know how to maybe properly, and maybe this is them properly reeling back some and going, hey, we need to adjust accordingly and maybe do both well, instead of, well, obviously what they were doing was not working. But I don't know. That's just me trying to figure out kind of this move, right? Because moving away from live service completely is also not the play. Like, that is not a good idea. Like, if you're talking about from a financial standpoint, it just isn't. You said it. It prints money. It just, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It does print money, but it's also one of those genres that, like, it only prints money if you do it well, and like not a lot of people know how to do it well, you know. So it's one of those things where it's like, do you backpedal on it on that like focus in like Bill said, like do a complete 180 and go back to what you're known for and what you know how to do well, or do you experiment and hope that it fucking works and possibly lose millions, right? Which so Sony doesn't have that kind of money to lose. Sony doesn't have that kind of money to experiment all that much. So,
well, here's my question though. We also have got things like Forspoken. We've got some of the
not
games.
A Sony game.
Is that well? Okay. What? It
was a Sony exclusive, but it wasn't. Sony
that's what I'm saying. Sony exclusive. I'm just gonna say I'm saying Sony exclusive, not necessarily Sony made, just Sony exclusive. Because most live service games are not made by like Microsoft or whatever else. These are just, I'm just going to use exclusives. Like if they are going to go down that route, because Sony is known for having exclusives that are amazing, right? The last few, or let's just say like we've got Forspoken, we've had some drops in Sony's field, right? Just like Microsoft has dropped, Redfall, like that was a live service game that fucking was not good, right? Like it's, if you can't do, you've got to be able to do both of them well, right? I don't know. Maybe this is Sony being like, hey, like we've dropped some of these that just have not been hits and bangers, and we would just rather get that back to normal. I don't know. Again, just my thoughts on it.
I'm not sure. Yeah,
I'm interested to see what they do.
I think that's kind of the same with me. I'm interested to see what happens with Bungie personally. So like I said, I don't think that this is going to negatively impact Bungie and Sony's like relationship. I think that Bungie was a huge acquisition for them, and no matter what, they're going to die on that hill and be like, well, Bungie is successful no matter what happens. So, but I am curious to see if Destiny 3 comes out as a live service game. So
it has to. There's no fucking world that game does not come out as live service. If that game comes out, that game does not come out as live service, the Destiny IP is dead in the water. There's no fucking world that comes out. I don't think Sony would even do that. I don't think Bungie would do that. Like, there's no fucking way. That's suicide. That is suicide for that company, 100% for them to do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm trademarking it right now. We're patenting it right now. Like, I'm just saying, I want to go back to this fucking podcast in however many years, whenever Destiny launches, and I swear to God, if they launch this fucking single player, watch, we're gonna come back.
I don't think they're gonna launch as single player. I just don't know if they will necessarily launch as a games as a service.
What do you launch as then? That's all Destiny is games as a service.
You launch as what Destiny 1 was. Destiny 1 wasn't a games as a service. It was a game that you bought and then you purchased DLCs for.
Destiny 1 was absolutely a games as a service.
Was it? Did it start off that way? I don't remember it having like a shop and everything.
It still had, it doesn't have a shop, but it was definitely a games as a service as far as like, it was an online, always on living thing. Like that is games of a, that is
no game. I mean, I guess it really depends on how you label games as a service. I personally label games as a service as a game that's, it's always on, it's constantly evolving, but it's being basically held up and propped up by a cash shop. That's my personal.
Well, there was still a cash shop of sorts in Destiny. One, was it as egregious as what the Eververse is in Destiny 2? No, but it was still there was still a cash shop. There was still a shop within Destiny 1. Like it was still a thing.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I don't know enough about Destiny 1 to realize that or not, but like I don't remember it again, like you said, I don't remember it being as egregious as Destiny 2. So
well, let's talk about, we talked about Sony, let's talk about Xbox. You guys ready to talk about Xbox? Let's talk about Xbox's new policy of saying goodbye to unofficial.
Xbox is the best thing that's happened to gaming recently.
He's definitely we gotta we get him out of here. Shut him down. Shut his mic off.
Oh man. So Xbox. Wait. Are you for this? Are you memeing right now?
No, fuck this.
Fuck
all of this, by the way.
Yeah.
You read that fucking intro and tell me that he's okay with it.
I was like, hey man, I don't know. Maybe there's just some weird fucking universe that we're in.
No, fuck this all the way. I was trying to look for a way that this is actually a benefit to anybody
It's
besides
not.
Microsoft,
Yeah.
and it's not. Because so the way people are trying to trick themselves into thinking this is a good thing is, oh, this is Microsoft taking a stand against hardware-based cheating, against the Zims and all of that
The
stuff.
Cronus and all that stuff.
And it doesn't work. This is not going to catch or do any of that, because to use Cronus and Zim, you have to go through an official Xbox controller. That is how they mask these devices to begin with, because most games have anti-cheats in place, like Siege has Mousetrap in place to try to prevent those kinds of things happening. This is only for like third-party wired controllers, third-party wired headsets, anything like that people are trying to get like on the cheap. This is not going to be effective on any of the as a form of anti-cheat for anything, because all goes through official Xbox gear.
I'm just reading the updates here.
You know, and I guess one way you could argue, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this is good by any means or any any definition of it, right? This is fucked up. But I guess one thing you could say is like maybe Microsoft is trying to crack down on like those really shitty fucking like Chinese knockoffs or you know the really bad stuff that you can get off of like Amazon. Right.
I mean, it could be a form of
either way
control, but it's not their fucking.
That's what I was gonna say. Either way you look at it, that should not be Bethesda's decision, like, or not Bethesda, Xbox's choice. Like, if you choose to go and get a knockoff, like Zinzao brand or whatever you want to call it, right? That should be entirely up to you and your pocketbook, right? They should have nothing to say with what you do and what you pair to their technology. I think it's kind of the same thing with Sony and their recent update with their addition for the physical disc, right? Like, I don't feel like they should be able to tell if you have like an official Sony license thing. So
yeah, no, 100%. It's the thing that Apple did way back in the day, where Apple made all of their fucking
Apple still does it. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but it's harmful. This is harmful for the industry, because third-party distributors of hardware and software, for the most part, like, it's part of this niche. The more you get rid of that stuff, the more like it's a power play. All they're wanting to do is cut down on competition, cut down on others potentially being able to do their stuff at a more cost-effective or potentially better way. Because I'm not particularly, I'm not particularly impressed with this gen of Xbox's controller.
That's my brother. If you're out there listening, Zombie, like, he's got I can't remember what kind of a controller it is, but it's just some like off-brand controller that he uses that pairs with his PC as well. But it's like an Xbox controller, and he says that's the best controller like he's ever used. But it's like an off-brand. So
yeah, it's silly and it's disgusting, and the gaming community trying to find some way to twist this as a positive for Microsoft is honestly more concerning. Than anything.
It's not. And I'm an Xbox fan, right? So like it's one of those things where like I'm an Xbox fan, and even I'm looking at it like, no, this ain't it. This ain't it, Xbox.
As much as I would love for a way for those hardware cheats to not be a thing on console gaming, this isn't the way.
Well, the other thing that you guys haven't hit on is, you know, I'm a fighting fan, right? A fighting game.
Fighting.
Dude, all fighting sticks are fucked. Like, and
holy shit.
All of them. There's
they're all third party, aren't they?
They're all like most.
Unless Xbox goes and starts.
What are they gonna do? Pair with every single
partner?
I mean, they'd have to partner with like Ori. They'd have to partner. I mean, there's so like the problem is that fighting sticks are very, very, very custom. Like they are. I mean, most fighting sticks, like you can go out and buy. Like I have a Marvel vs. Capcom fighting stick that was licensed by Xbox. Fine. But like if I were to go and yeah, I can use it and it's fine and whatever else, but you know, a lot of people still use controller, but people that are fucking in the fighting stick world, if I walked in with that thing, that's like walking in with the plague, bro. They look at me like I am some downtrodden, like low life piece of shit, and I shouldn't even be gracing the air that they breathe. Like it's just. So yeah, you're fucked. Like you're fucked.
I mean, that would be, if you're a hardcore fighting game fan, that might be enough to make you switch off of an Xbox if that was the case.
Well, they're gonna have like for Evo, which most Evo was done on.
To come out with their own official fighting stick. They have to.
But nobody's gonna want it. Like that's the thing, unless they're gonna allow.
Want that.
I mean, the only thing that you could possibly do, right? And
do most tournaments run like console tournaments? Do they have
PlayStation? They usually run PlayStation.
So one thing to think about as well, though, is like I will say I will give it to Xbox. Like you remember that you remember they came out with some accessibility controllers in the past that were like fully customizable. So I'm curious if they push that forward a little bit more and give you like a better customizability for like say those specific instances with like fighting sticks.
It's still taking away options.
Like it's still taking away options. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I am saying that like maybe they have a plan for it. I can only hope that they have a plan for it.
Yeah, but that's like saying that like let's put this in the world of like PC building, right? Like PC building is a very niche, kind of thing. Everybody, likes their certain colorway. They love hard tubing versus like liquid. I mean, all this fucking wild, wacky shit. It's like somebody coming in and saying, you know what? PC building no longer is going to be whatever you want, and you're only allowed to use this company's build kit, and that's it. And you can't do shit unless you use that. And that's you get and customize it as much as you want within the realm of this. Like that's not fair. Like that's bullshit. That's crap. And
I'm not arguing with you. Yeah.
No, I know you're not. I'm just saying that like I don't care how good Microsoft goes. Like this is not the play to try to fix.
It's a bad move. It's especially on the heels of like some. I mean, they haven't been making wins, but they haven't been making L's left and right.
It's on the heels of the Activision Blizzard win.
Yeah,
it seems like they got that win, and now they're.
It's a very weird it's a very weird decision to make for sure. But
I also
on top of the next piece of news.
Oh yeah. I mean we'll go to this, but I do want to say the other thing that I wonder is if that has to, because we've theorized that WoW is coming to Xbox. I have said it for fucking months and months and months and months and months and years that they've been talking about this acquisition. I really wonder if part of this is like, hey, we want to bring WoW to Xbox, but we're gonna make you hook up with our mouse and keyboard if you're gonna fucking do it. I don't know. Again, I'm just
I would hope that they would get WoW figured out to where it's like Final Fantasy 14, where it has
it can work on a controller. Yeah,
it can work on a controller already. Yeah,
but I don't know. Anyway. I'm done tinfoil hatting on this episode. I've done my fair share of it. I don't want to do any more of it. Okay, so what Bill was talking about was Microsoft also announced that they employees are losing free Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So prior to it, one of the benefits was that all of the kind of employees were allowed to have access to Game Pass Ultimate. And that now is being taken away. And
it's weird. It's a weird thing to pull. Yeah, I don't know if they're doing it. I'm trying to find a reason as to why they would be doing this, because the only thing I could think of that would make them want to do this is to get more legitimate numbers on as far as like their backers and their Game Pass subscriptions and that kind of stuff. But I can't imagine the amount of Microsoft employees out there like that factoring in. And even if it did, I figured that their data teams would be removing those people from the data pool.
Well,
since they're not technically consumers.
What's really weird about this is that if you read the article, and I'll scroll down here so you can see it, it says right here that I understand that Xbox employees will continue to keep their benefits. But where's it? It talks about, here you go, right here. Some of Microsoft's employees have taken to the company's internal messaging platform to voice their objections about the benefit being removed. The employee post even prompted Xbox Phil Spencer to respond, noting he wasn't aware of the changes. Like, broski, what do you mean you're not aware of the change? This shit rolls out and you don't know? Like,
he's too busy smiling into a camera and making PR moves
Like
to
this is
know what's actually going on within the company. It seems like
this
That's
is
weird.
This is a misstep in
that seems like that's more. It's more of like a. Like a not like we were talking about it earlier. Like the numbers people that are making
cubicle people.
decisions, and he just
even,
and I guarantee you that it did go through Phil, and he just kind of signed it because he was busy or something like that. You know, most of the time
that's not okay.
That's on him. Like that's not okay.
Yeah.
If you're coming,
I'm not making excuses. Bill, relax.
No,
I'm not making excuses.
What I want to say is even if he was completely unaware of this change, that's not something you tell your employees. You say,
100%.
Hey, I hear your frustration. Let me look into it. You just don't pull the ignorance card and be like, well, I didn't fucking know.
Yeah. The problem that this also does is, like, again, I love Philly Boy, right? I've sung his praise up and down, but when the previous stuff is like, hey, I'm watching Bethesda. We're watching Bethesda like a hawk, you know, to make sure that this stuff's get done. Hey, we're watching Activision. Fuck Bobby, he's
the
out.
rest of Microsoft
right?
is fucking going
then
without
this comes in, and you're kind of like, I didn't even know. It's like, what do you mean, bro? Like you don't.
It's a weird thing to say for sure.
And I do believe that you're accurate. One. I 100% believe that this is somebody somewhere saw $69 billion just go out the fucking door, and they were like, well, we could save, like, you know, I don't know, 500,000 right now with Game Pass Ultimate and taking away from our employees. So let's do that.
Yeah.
And
it's like, definitely one of those things where it's like, it feels like it's a numbers decision rather than a smart decision on the part of like a business decision.
Okay.
But
what do we got?
But on the other hand, like we did come out when it was a 25 million subscribers or something like that. So maybe they're trying to boost, like you said, their numbers a little bit.
So how much is Game Pass Ultimate? Can you guys do me a quick and look at
Game Pass Ultimate? $16.99.
$16.99, yeah.
$16.99. All right. So we'll say $17. That is, and that's $16.99 a month.
Yep.
So that's $4 million a month for 238,000 employees. Somebody somewhere said, "Hey, hold on, let's do that." That is $48 million a year we can make back by cutting this.
Yes, sir.
That's what happened. That is your
and that's why I'm saying
been about the money, man.
What I was about to say is that way.
Not to hate on Phil Spencer, but Microsoft as an organization, they are money centered through and through.
Well, they didn't get to be able to spend $71 billion on Activision for nothing, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
it's a shitty. It's just
that kind of. You go and spend that kind of money, and then you fuck over your employees.
Yeah, it's not a good decision. I'm not arguing that.
I am
looking at it as like, it's definitely. It feels to me like it's the accountant in the background going, well, we need to shift some fucking money around, boys. What's the low hanging fruit, right?
You know what they could do, right? And again, I guess I'm putting my tinfoil back on. What they could do is they could go and say, you know what, this was baked in as an employee benefit. If it's baked in as an employee benefit, it's not a tax write-off. If they go and say, hey, we are going to gift everybody every year of which, if you would do that, why the fuck would you go about it this way? But I'm just saying they could do it as a tax write-off, and maybe that's how they come back from it. But hopefully,
you're fucking reaching,
bro. I'm just saying, man. We tinfoil hat this entire episode,
he's trying,
bro.
Man. He's trying, man.
I'm just trying to theory
trying for you, brother.
I'm trying to theory craft as to why this would be fucking done and how they're who what where. But I don't know, man. Whatever.
But well, these two decisions are very concerning in my eyes for like where Xbox's mind is at with the coming, like the next fiscal year. Like they shouldn't be this like making these kinds of big changes purely for profit, which it seems like that's all of these changes is purely for profit.
Yep. Well, we'll see what
Especially
happens
after making a massive acquisition like that. You don't then punish your employees for that acquisition.
Hey, let's talk about another game that's pure for profit. The Day Before. I swear to God, if anybody buys this fucking game in our community, you're instantly banned and you're not allowed to come and listen to us.
Well, what are you talking about? Anybody? You're gonna be the one that buys it, bro.
Absolutely will not. There is no fucking shot. I'm just saying, if this game does not like when
mark it here. Mark it here, guys.
There's
in 7 years when this game comes out, Sin will be the first one to buy it out.
There is no shot that this game, one, ever releases, but two, if it
December
gets
7th.
if it get bullshit, yeah, December 7th, yeah,
bullshit.
If it comes
bullshit,
if it comes out on December 7th as like a, hey, we're going into early access, you can buy it. If anybody in this fucking community buys this game, I promise you, I will personally ban you from our Discords. I'll ban you from a Discord. I'm gonna ban you from Twitter. I'm gonna ban you from the chat. You can listen to the podcast after the fact because I can't ban you from that. But I swear to God,
you guys heard it. We're gonna have to ban Sin.
Yeah, I am not gonna buy this. There's no shot.
I mean, he's only been following the YouTube channel for the past 4 months. So.
I have no fuck you. I have no concern that this is even gonna be a thing.
I just got that. I was like, wait, what?
So I don't know, man. But anyway, the day before, like, did you see their post where they were like, hey, we got our name. Like, we want our name back. What are you talking about, dude? This is
Yep.
And I still have people that are like, oh, I'm excited about this. And fucking why? Where do you get how? Who?
The only people that I've heard talk positively about this are people that have not followed any of the background stuff with it, which honestly, most
is 9/10 of the fucking gamers out here, honestly.
We do dive so other people don't have to, and whenever they're not watching the podcast, they're left in the dark and make poor business.
Exactly.
Which is what that's a reason why you should be listening to the Pre-Patch podcast, available on Twitch, YouTube, all other podcast platforms, anchor.fm/prepatch podcast. Go and check it out.
Listen, you little butt plug, get back in line, bro. It's not your job anymore, bro. You have one day to do it. Don't fucking back off. It's mine.
Great on that day that you had to do it, by the way.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm like this.
I want to go soak in the spa and work out with the
home. I want to go run. I want to go run on some treadmills, right?
This game.
Yeah, no. This is a joke, man. Like it's honestly, it's getting to the point now where it's going. If it does actually release, I'm just going to be impressed that it released, bro. Like I'm just going to be impressed that they were actually able to fucking finish it. Like honestly,
come on.
You think these are all pre-rendered? This is all a pre-rendered cutscene.
100%.
Absolutely. Not only are they pre-rendered cutscenes,
this is all like real gameplay here.
This is shit copied from other fucking games, man. This is fucking real. Oh my god!
This is all stock assets or basic bitch assets that they've bought off of like the Epic store, or the Unreal store.
I'm surprised right now that we don't see one of them fucking swinging from here and gliding on a web glider with fucking a fucking lizard zombie that's chasing them through downtown Bronx.
Bro. Watch that trailer from that second one, the Game Rant video. Watch that, and that does a comparison to the trailers. So one of the big arguments is that like this announcement that they came out with, it's copied from other games. A lot of it's copied from GTA. Some of it's copied from I think Red Dead Redemption 2, I believe, and then there was a couple of them copied from some other games. I think Cyberpunk was in there.
Cyberpunk was on there. Yeah.
Like key for key, pretty much. And you guys can't hear it, but like the announcer is speaking in the background, and then it'll have like the day before's announcement, and then it'll go to like the Rockstar Games announcement, and it's literally key for key, like word for word, pretty much.
Dude.
So they didn't write their own script.
Didn't write their own script. Didn't write their own videography or whatever you want to call it. The storyline behind the video, right? Didn't write any of that. Literally copied it from everything. Pans of like cities. Everything looks the exact same. It's crazy, man. Like I don't get it, dude. I don't get it.
Dude, I swear to God, bro, I swear to God.
But you still can't spend money on it yet. There's no pre-order.
Thank God, man.
Yeah, that is one of the good things. Is like there's no way to actually buy this game right now that I know of. Let me check that just to make sure.
What if they did a free-to-play early access?
No, No,
or a
I'm not.
demo.
Absolutely not. You think I'm gonna? These people are already known for hawking everybody else's shit. You think I want to fucking give them access to my computer? They're gonna hawk all my crap. Soon I'm gonna be one of the buildings will have my damn social security number on it because it's fucking like, oh well, you know, hey, look how realistic we are. Like, no, absolutely not, dude. This is no way, shape, or form.
There's no way to purchase it right now. It is up for early access, and there is a planned release date for early access of 4 weeks from now. But
tell me that right there does not give you the vibe of, first off, New Fortune City, right? Like that's I immediately get New Jack City. What was the cyberpunk city called? Phantom Liberty, right? Wasn't that no, what's the name of the city that you are in Cyberpunk?
In Phantom Liberty?
I'm blanking.
No, the name is in Cyberpunk, the name of the main city. Anyway, whatever. Night City, right?
City,
I'm getting the same thing. And then right here, you tell me right now that that's not the Ripper Doc, bro. You tell me that that's not the scene where you're sitting down in the chair in the fucking Ripper Doc.
Either the Ripper Doc, or you could argue that that's a scene from what's it called, Fallout New Vegas, when the doctor is, you know, when you're just waking up and the doctor's like, oh, looks like you got a pretty nasty bump on your head there, son.
This is just so bad. And then when they did the one where they were like, where's the one where they're driving through the streets, bro? This looks like Ghost Recon 100%. That's ripped from Ghost Recon. That's fucking Call of Duty. That right there, like this right here, that's Call of Duty 2, bro. This reminds me, like, this is a fucking joke. I want to punch these dudes in the dick. Just
in the dick,
bro. In the dick. Anyway, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
I don't know, man. So if like I said, I will be impressed if this game ever actually releases. And that's the only reason why I'd be impressed is if it actually releases.
There's no fucking shot, dude. I swear to God, there's no fucking shot. Anyway, all right. Well, let's talk about something that did release and actually get out of here. That actually released. And is doing surprisingly well. So we talked about the finals a while ago. Myself and I think Scruffy played. No, I think it was just me. Actually, I'm the one that had just played it. It felt okay. It had some jank. There was some weird issues, but it is taken over Steam by storm. And it's not only become one of the most popular, most played games on Steam in open beta, but it has become the #1 wished list game on Steam as well. And if you're unfamiliar with the finals, it is a first-person shooter game that has like very destructible environments. I was hoping that there was going to be a clip here of it, but they don't have one. I don't know if it's no, it does not. But it is, you know, basically uses Unreal Engine 5, fully destructible worlds. It's an arena-based shooter where you're, you know, teams and you're dropping cash off. Free to play right now, open beta that you can get into. I actually recommend, you know, if you are a fan of shooters, like dropping it, it's a fun experience. I have said from the very beginning, it's not fun if you drop in by yourself. You need to have, you know, at least one other teammate to drop in with you at minimum. But it's a cool concept and it's doing really, really well. So, you know,
similar to Siege in that regard, it sounds like.
Yeah. I would say even more so, like in Siege, because I have been playing Siege solo, and I can deal with that. Playing this solo, it just feels very like frustrating and annoying, because there's a lot of like teamwork that needs to be involved, you know, to actually be effective. You know, again, Siege, absolutely the same thing, but this, for whatever reason, feels weirdly more like you need to have collaboration with teammates. So, I don't know. It's free. Again, if you guys are interested, I'd love to download and play it to have some footage to show kind of what it, you know, what it's become. So,
yeah,
that's the finals. And then this one I'm actually excited about. I know we've talked a lot about League and Worlds is going on, but I don't know if you guys ever played Heroes of the Storm. I loved Heroes of the Storm.
Yep.
I was a huge fan of Heroes of the Storm. Very sad.
This was really good, man.
Whenever it kind of went away and we fell off of it, but this like magic you know, patch all of a sudden showed up on PTR and everyone's kind of like yo, so hold on a second. So it's fixing a lot of bugs. It's not new content, but like, why? For a game that has no active development, why? So there's a thought that during BlizzCon this week we're going to get news that HOTS is coming back, and I would fucking love for HOTS to come back.
It'd be interesting. I don't know. I wasn't too deep into HOTS. I played a little bit more Dota, in League, personally, but what I did play with HOTS, it was enjoyable. I enjoyed it.
Do you think that
definitely liked it for the Blizzard content more than really the gameplay, but that was just me.
Do you think that there's a world where HOTS can exist in a league like because right now to me, like, this is the time to do it when League is like at its all-time kind of low. It's the lowest it's ever been. Do you think that there's a world where HOTS can come back?
Do I think it can contend with League? No,
I'm not saying contend, but I'm saying actively at least be one of the ones that's out there, right? Like we have League, we have Dota.
I mean,
there's some mobile ones, but
yeah, I mean, it's something that, like, yeah, it could be. It could be a game that people play. Yeah, 100%. I don't think that it'll ever contend with League. It never could. Which was unfortunate, but
yeah, I think if it does come back, it'll be kind of like your Pokemon Unites, where
it'll be like
it has its niche audience.
Yeah.
I forgot about Pokemon.
But that's okay. Unite. Honestly, yeah, that's okay. Like it's a niche audience. Like that you're never going to have. League. When League released, it was a fluke. Like in my opinion, like it had like the perfect storm to really kind of like propel itself forward into popularity, right? And then on top of that, Blizzard tried to then make HOTS to kind of contend with it, but I don't think they could ever really compete in the long run. So I don't know. It had good ideas. It had bad ideas. It had some gameplay loops that I enjoyed. It had some gameplay loops I didn't enjoy. But like, I think predominantly the reason why people would play HOTS over League would be for that Warcraft lore. It'd be the Warcraft nerds that are like, oh, I can play Thrall.
That's the reason people play Pokemon Unite over League is because they love Pokemon.
I mean, I'm excited to talk to you guys about Warcraft Rumble because I'm actually really fucking enjoying that game, and that game is again kind of that same thing. Like, there's no reason it should be as good as it is, and it's fucking fun. So, well, this brings us to the end of our show where we go over quick hits and make sure that if you do have any questions, put them in the chat. And if you are listening post show, this is why you should join us live, because you couldn't put us in chat and you can ask us questions. But we go through our quick hits. These are things that we find very interesting to the gaming world, but we don't necessarily need to have a whole list of or segment on its own. So D4 enlists the Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Sarah Michelle Gellar to promote season 2. It was
weird, dude. It was a weird, like,
I mean, it fits. Who was it? It was what's Thumb Chick? What's the girl with the weird thumbs? Fuck, she was in Transformers. What the hell is her name?
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox. Yeah, Megan Fox. If you don't know Thumb Chick, go look at her thumbs. They're really fucking weird. But they also no, I swear to God, go look at her thumbs. They're fucking. You'll look at them and go, what the hell? God. But Sarah Michelle Gellar, Buffy, get it? It's vampire based. I understand it. I also think it's really cool. They're doing like a blood donation drive right now where, I'm all about it. I love it. Go do that. So that's D4. Last Epoch is coming out of early access, in February 21st, supposedly February 21st. Really crazy. Go look at the roadmap. Again, this is another one of those
really
games.
Cool roadmap, honestly. Really cool roadmap. Warlock, entirely new class is coming out. Warlock's coming out. Falconeer preview. I don't know what that is. I think that's another class of some sort.
Yep. Yeah, it's a class that uses a pet bird, which is really dope. Again, Last Epoch is a game that if you're an action RPG fan, you're not getting what you want from Diablo or whatever else, go check it out. Even if you are getting what you want from Diablo, go check out Last Epoch. Really great game. And they've stuck with it, man. I give them kudos. They have stuck with that game and continue to develop it. So, show them some love. And they did drop multiplayer as well. So Starfield is adding native DLSS support along with some other improvements. Cool.
Kind of cool stuff with that, because I know a lot of people had issues with the fact that you had to mod DLSS into the game, which I agree with them completely. Like it should have released with DLSS to begin with.
Speaking of mods, they've also announced that with the mod you can unlock the ability to build your own space station. All of the code was already in the game, which pretty much means it was supposed to be
all of the code was already in the game. It was just cut content. I'm curious if it was going to be like DLC content.
probably be limited. They will probably go in and stop that one from happening, or they're just going to allow it in the game and say,
they'll just
learned from the mod.
Yeah.
Payday 3 is finally playable. They partnered up with a Terraria Fortnite developer to figure out how to get their fucking online system working, but that's now available, so you can play online.
Thank God.
You know, so if you bought that game like I did and Enigma did, you bought that game, you know, now you can actually play it a month and a half after its launch. So grats there. Warcraft Rumble.
That is actually wild. It took so long. Holy shit.
That is it's weird. Yeah. I did not see that coming when we bought Payday 3. I was like, that's
I'm excited to go back and play it. I'm excited to actually play the game now. Like
yeah, for sure.
But Warcraft Rumble, like I said. Okay. All right. Well, actually, there you go. All right. Warcraft Rumble does launch officially tomorrow. If you were pre-registered, you can download it now on Android and iOS. OTK had a
before you move on, Warcraft Rumble, like explain it a little bit because I have no fucking clue.
So Warcraft Rumble is a Clash of Clans style.
This is that mobile
Clash Royale game. But it's even more than that. Like, this is like what I would say, like how Marvel Snap is really taken over. Marvel Snap is doing phenomenal, by the way. Love that game. Still play it. This is like them taking Clash of Clans and Tower Defense and adding this spice of like Warcraft into it, where you have dungeons, you have mods, you know, you can go after, you get gear, you're unlocking minions, you're building a deck that you can then go and take against a PvP, like going to PvP. Like it's cool. Hitting a lot of right areas. So I'm really excited to actually get into the
I'm assuming that's going to be one of your games next week then. Yeah.
Yes, that will be one of my games next week.
One of the 6.
No. OTK also launched or had their Mak'gora fight to the death in Hardcore Classic. Normally we could care less. Why would we promote it? And why do we talk about it? But it was the #1 most watched WoW tournament and most well put together WoW tournament of all time. So
yeah, I mean, it's being put together by fucking WoW nerds. Of course,
yeah, I know. But when you're talking about it, like including Blizzard, like people, like literally the fans and everybody was like, you guys should let OTK run your tournaments. Blizzard don't 100%. Do it. Blizzard are like they do not run tournaments very well at all. Like it's ass. Most of their tournaments have been ass. So that was they did it really, really well. Snoots won. It was a warlock that won. No shocker there. Warlocks.
Of course it was. Yeah,
warlocks are busted.
No fucking shit.
But it was an amazing tournament to go watch. I do recommend go back and watching it. If you like Warcraft at all, it's fucking great. Some of the fights were fucking amazing. So that's it. Episode 103 is done. Scruffy is back from his date. He's got a new girlfriend. Congratulations to Scruffy and his plum or date or radish or whatever it was that he was out having dinner with. Yeah, she was radishing, right? I know it's ravishing, but radishing. Anyway, hopefully next time we will not have a date scheduled on podcast night. Scruffy, nice. Or if you are, guess who's coming on the show with you? I'm just saying.
We're having date night on the podcast, baby.
Everybody's gonna bring their significant other. So
it's like meeting the family.
Yeah, exactly. So but I hope everybody enjoyed the episode and had a great time. Again, make sure that if you didn't get to stay for the entire show or you didn't join us live, again, we do this every Thursday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern right here on Twitch and YouTube. But go check out your favorite podcasting app. Go to YouTube. Go watch our shorts. We have a Twitter. We got Discord. We have so many places that you can catch us. But honestly, there's 103 other episodes. We're not even close to being done. We've got so much more planned for you. Go check them all out. They're all amazing. They're all great. And we will catch you guys next week for episode 104. Pre-Patch Podcast. We're out of here. Bye.
Hasta luego.
Later.